Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another one live session on Tadvidya Sambhasha. I'm Dr. Ratna, Assistant Professor working at Hillside Ayurveda Medical College in Department of Prasuti and Stri Roga. In that last session, we have discussed about some basic points of Prasuti and Stri Roga, that is a concept of Stri, Sharir, Rachana and all. Today, I would like to discuss about Garbha Vijnana. Along with that, some points about a role of Panchakarma in pre-conceptional care. Starts with the Garbha Vijnana, that is the form, how Garbha will form, the formation of Garbha or Garbha Utpatti. So we would have all studied how formation of Garbha will take place. Here we will revise it once. Acharya Charaka states that Shukra Shonita Jiya Sanyoge Tu Kalu Kukshigate Garbha Sanya Bhavati. That means here Garbha is formed with the combination of Shukra and Shonita, that is male gamete and female gamete, along with the Jiva in the Kukshi. So here Charaka states that as in modern science, the zygote is formed with the fusion of or combination of male gamete and female gamete, that's all. But Ayurveda goes much deeper, and Garbha is a combination of or formation from the, not only from Shukra Shonita, it will form along with the Jiva or Atma. And Acharya Sushruta states that Shukra Shonita Jiya Sanyoge Shukra Shonitam Garbhashayastam Atma Prakruti Vikara Samurchitam Garbha Ityuchate. That means along with Shukra and Shonita, there will be a, and besides Atma, there will be a Prakruti and Vikara, that is Ashta Prakruti and Shodasha Vikara. Then only the formation of Garbha or Garbha Utpatti will take place. Or with the formation of Ashta Prakruti and Shodasha Vikara, then only it is considered as a Panchavimshatika Purusha. And next point, some essential factors which are helpful for the conception. There are 4 factors which are going to help for the conception. For this, under this, Sushruta states that Dhruvam Chaturnam Sadidhyat Garbhasyat Vidipurvakaha Rutukshetra Ambu Bijanam Samagryat Ankuro Yata. That means there are 4 essential factors for in the means of conception. So those are Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu and Bija. So here Acharya has given a simile. That means while the processing of conception, it is compared with the processing of forming. That means for the to get a good crop, how we will need a clean field and water and fertile period, and also that is bija. So for the process of conception or the formation of conception, here we will need the essential 4 factors, that is Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu and Bija. So here Rutu is Rutu or Anganayaha Rajaha Samayaha. That means Rajaha Samayaha, that means where Raja Utpatti takes place. That means here Rutu is considered as a fertile period, that is Rutu Kala. And Rutu Kshetra, Kshetram Garbhashaya. So here Kshetra is Garbhashaya. So nothing but if the uterus is devoid of any anatomical and physiological abnormalities. And Ambu is Ambu Punar Ahara Papkajo Vyapihi Rasadatuhu. So here Ambu can be correlated with some nourishing substances. And Bija, so again Stri Pumsayor Artava Shukre. So here Bija is Stri Arthava and Shukra, that is female and male gametes. So these are the 4 essential factors are responsible for the conception. Next, move on to next topic, that is preconception. So as I told, here we will discuss about some clinical points on preconception. How that means how can we assess or how can we screen the preconception couples, and also some points on panchakarma. So the definition of preconceptional care is: preconceptional care can be defined as care and advice given to the couple who are planning for the pregnancy well before the time of actual conception. That means here they have mentioned the term, that is couple. Here we are going to advise the care and going to give the treatment not only for a female partner but also for both the couples, that is male and female partners for both, and before the time of actual conception. So we would the time period before the time of actual conception means, so we should start well before, at least for 4 to 6 months before when the couple started to planning the pregnancy. So presently, whenever a pregnant woman approaches the obstetrician, so by that time it will be too late to advise this preconceptional care, because by that time organogenesis would have been completed by that time. So that means, so we have to give advices, or we should give treatment before the time of actual conception only. And this preconceptional period is a phase where we can identify the risk factors which are going to affect adversely towards the perinatal outcome, with the means of like any genetic diseases or any congenital anomalies, like it may be can be anencephaly, meningoceal, or like any neural tube defects like spina bifida and all those things. So next, how to assess or how to screen these couples. So as I told, we have to screen, or we have to advise for both and male and female partners. So here it comes. So some points to assess the maternal assessment, that is how going to assess the female partner. So it starts with by taking careful history, like medical history, family history, genetic history, and all those things. Under medical history, we have to inquire about the patient if the patient is suffering from any kind of pre-existing chronic disorders like hypertension, diabetes mellitus. Sorry for interruption. If the female partner is suffering from any pre-existing chronic disorders like hypertension, diabetes mellitus, epilepsy, or asthma, so we have to identify those things, and we have to give proper stabilization by giving proper intervention. And also we would ask about the family history and genetic history, because some of the diseases will runs in the family, and also like some congenital disorders. And also if the couples are planning for a second pregnancy, if they are planning for the second pregnancy, so sometimes in their first pregnancy, or if the first child was also suffering from any kind of congenital disorders like any cardiac problems or any renal related problem will be there. So we have to identify that, and we have to take careful history about that, and we have to give treatment by giving proper intervention. And next we have also asked about some drug history, as if they have suffering from any kind of diseases, they would have definitely there will be on some treatments. So we have to check on that, we have to check on those tablets, and we have to replace it. For example, if a woman is taking any anti-diabetic drugs for diabetes, oral anti-diabetic drugs, it should be replaced by the insulin. It should be replaced with the insulin. And if they are taking any varfarin like substances, and we should replace it with the heparin. And one more thing, we should also take history about the personal history. That means whether if there are any they are taking any drug abuse or drug addiction, or if tobacco chewing or alcohol, so we should ask the patient to stop that. and also the maternal health is optimally stabilized by checking by doing some general examinations, that is by solving the problems of underweight and overweight and also anemia. And also we should do the abdominal examination and vaginal examination to diagnose any or to elicit any abdominal masses or any pelvic infections. And also we should go for some laboratory investigations like screening test for rubella, varicella, because rubella is one of the major cause for repeated abortions, because it comes under torch infection, that is the toxoplasmosis rubella and cytomegaloviruses. So rubella is one of the major cause for repeated abortion, that is habitual abortion. So we have to go for the screening test of rubella and varicella viruses, and also we have to done screening test for HIV, HPS, AG, and also for gonorrhea and chlamydial infections with the help of cervical swab test. This is all about the female partner. This is assessment of the female partners. And comes to male paternal assessment. The same points we have to cover all this, that is by taking careful history and all, and by doing examination. Along with that, we should also do a semen analysis test, because by doing semen analysis we are not only seeing a good sperm count or motility, we also should know about the morphology of the sperms, because sometimes some abnormality in the morphology of the sperm will present, like double-headed sperm, small-headed sperm, or like double-tailed sperm, all will present. So that is called as teratozoospermia or teratospermia. So to overcome this all situation or all these problems, we have to assess the male partner also, and we have also screened the male partners for HIV, HBs, AG, and also for Montauk's test. So all this about the assessment and screening criteria for couples before the time of actual conception, that is during the preconceptional period. And next we will discuss about some Ayurvedic concepts about the preconception. So Ayurveda, as you know, Ayurveda is a physiological knowledge. It is not only a science of medicine, it is a holistic way of life, which is take care of human being in all the aspects, that is physically, mentally, and spiritually also. And the aim of Ayurveda in preconceptional care is to get a Shreyasi Praja, or to upliftment of a human race by getting a Shreyasi Praja. This is the main aim of Ayurveda in the preconceptional period. And in Ayurveda, the preconception begins right with the selection of right partner for the marriage. Yes, exactly. Like in modern concepts, what they would tell, preconception starts before the actual time of conception. But our Ayurveda has mentions that the preconceptional care will be begins with the selection of a right partner for the marriages. That means a man should marry a woman who is not belonging to their gotra, that is Atulya Gotra. Yeah, it is scientifically proven also, because if the marriages occurs in the relatives, it is considered as, and they will share a proportion of genes in them. So, and it is considered as a consanguinity or consanguineous marriage. So those consanguineous parents will carries a autosomal recessive gene. So the children which are likely to born are likely to have a high risk of this autosomal recessive disorder. So marriage should not be takes place in Tulya Gotra, that is in of same Gotra. So should be a man should marry a woman of Atulya Gotra only. And he should not marry a woman of having any contagious diseases or any infectious diseases, and she should not having any abnormalities, and also she should be of good nature and healthy. And next, there are also a mention about the age of conception. That means Panchavimshatato Varsha Puman Naritu Shodashe. That means this is the proper age for conception in male and females. So for the male partner, it should be of 25 years, and for the female partner, it should be of 16 years. So by that time, the both are well mature and ready for attempt of the conception. So this is the proper age for a conceptional period. Next, there are in our classics they have mentioned some rules to be followed during the intercourse time. So Ayurveda advises that the conception is possible, or the best position for a conception with a woman is lying on her back, and intercourse should be avoided after overeating and with any negative feelings, or intercourse should be avoided who is a person is very sick, or who is obese, and who is menstruating, and who is having any any gynecological infections or disorders. Yes, intercourse should be avoided after overeating, because it is one of the main cause for Antharmukhi Yoni Vapor, or like it is a retroverted uterus. So all these points we should keep in mind. And they have mentioned about some lucky day for conception also. That is, conception will be good whenever it is occur at 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th and 14th day of period. That is after the ending of the menses. That is after the stoppage of menstrual flow. Next. Next point is role of Panchakarma, and some other points like yoga and pranayama, how it should be performed during the preconceptional period. So as I told, a preconception period is a preventive care and a prospective planning before the conception. So by this time, that is whatever we have left during the 4 and 6 months, we can give preventive measures to the couples, and also we can properly plan for a future pregnancy. So it is a preventive care and also a prospective planning for the conception, or before the time of actual conception. So the interventions during this period can be divided into 3 sections. That is, one is physical, which includes some Panchakarma therapies, yoga, pranayama, and ahara, all those things. And second one is psychological aspects, that is by giving proper counseling, and by doing meditation, and by giving some by chanting some mantras, that is mantra therapy. And third one is by spiritual aspects, that is by performing Putreshti Yagna. Yes, this is one of the unique concepts which is explained in Charaka and Kashyapa Samhita. Charaka Samhita and Kashyapa Samhita. So first we'll move on to Panchakarma aspects. So as you all know, Panchakarma is a versatile and effective treatment for all problems, and it is a unique concept which is mentioned in Ayurveda, and it is a primary protocol in all treatments. So when and why Panchakarma is indicated? So as I mentioned, Panchakarma can be done during the preconception time for a swastha person, and also who is a diseased person. So in a swastha person, to get a swasthya sharira. So the concept of swasthya according to Ayurveda is samadosha samagnischa samadhatu malakriyaha prasanna atmendriya manaha swastha ityabhidiyate. That means whenever, even though the couple is not suffering from any diseases, but to get a swasthya deha, swasthya sharira, and by doing panchakarma, it will detoxify the body, and also it balances the 3 dosha, and it maintains the dhatus and mala, and it also helps in or promotes the vyadhi kshamatva in the body. So panchakarma is must and should at the time of preconception. And one more thing, for the second point is, our second indication for do panchakarma is for the nourishment of 4 factors. That means, as I told, there are essential factors for the conception, or that is Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu and Bija. So for the proper nourishment of these 4 factors, we should do the Panchakarma therapy. So because while explaining Garbhadhana Vidhi, Charaka clearly mentions that there will be a necessary of apradushta yoni, apradushta retas, and apradushta garbhashaya and shonita will be necessary, and also Rutukala is also very important for the Garbhadhana to take place. That means for the proper conception. So that by doing Panchakarma, we can easily nourish all these four factors. And third one is, as I told earlier, it is for the upliftment of the human race by getting Shreyasi Praja, Ojasvi Praja, and also Tejasvi Praja. So Panchakarma is very beneficial. And then second one, that is in a diseased condition, that is in a Vyadhi Avastha. So Panchakarma is also indicated in some of Vyadhi Avastha, that is in some general conditions, like if at all the couples are suffering from any kind of diseases like Kushta, Amla Pitta, or any Shwasa Vyadhis, we can advise the Panchakarma. And in female partners, if they are suffering from any Artava Sruto Dushti, like Rajo Dushti, Rajakshinata, Anartava, or like any kind of Artava Dushti, like that. And also in the female partners, if they are suffering from any Shukra Dushti, Reto Dushti, or any Klaibyata, or in Shukra Kshaya condition also, we can advise this Panchakarma therapy. So the types of Panchakarma we should advise during this preconception are that is Vamana, Virechana, Basti, and Nasya. And we can also advise some Upakramas like Snehana, Svedana, that is and Shirodhara, Shiropichu, and also Sarvanga Abhyanga, and also some kind of Sthanika Chikitsa, that is Yoni Pichu and Yoni Varti and Uttarabasti also. So these are some Upakramas we can advise during this preconception period. So coming to the that is Snehana Karma. So as I told, Snehana is indicated as a Purva Karma before doing proper Shodhana, and also Snehana is indicated as a Upakrama because it is one among Shad Upakramas, that is Langana, Svedana, Snehana and all. So it is one among Shad Upakrama. So we can advise Snehana as Purva Karma as well as Upakrama also. So Snehana is indicated in those patients who are very Rukshita, Karshita. That means who where their body is very Rukshana, is suffering from very Rukshana due to Vata Prakopa, and who are Karshita and also Dhatukshaya, and also who are very Chinta. जो भी पेशेंट रुक्ष उनके देह बहुत रुक्ष रहते हैं, कर्षित रहते हैं, एंड ऑल्सो वेरी चिंतित रहते हैं. सो ऐसे सारे पेशेंट्स में हम स्नेहन कर्म इंडिकेट कर सकते हैं. So Snehana is of two types. One is Abhyantara Sneha Karma, and Bahya Sneha Karma. So in Bahya Sneha Karma, we usually indicate Sarvanga Abhyanga, that is a full body oil massage. So it is definitely going to help to reduce this or to mitigate the Vata Prakopa condition. By performing Sarvanga Abhyanga, we can choose the oil which is going to help or to reduce the Vata, like Narayana Taila, Mahanarayana Taila, or any Kshir Bala Taila also we can use for Sarvanga Abhyanga purpose. And for Abhyantara Sneha Karma, for Abhyantara Snehana, here we have to perform Acha Sneha. Not here we will not indicate any Vicharana Sneha. Here we will indicate Acha Sneha or Acha Peya. And for that, by doing this Abhyantara Snehapana, it will act fastly, that is it works fastly, and it also helps the nourishment of the bija, and it also helps in the improvement or proper development of the endometrium line. Yes, endometrium line is should be very good, or it should be receptive for proper implantation. So Snehana, that's why Snehana is helpful for the proper improvement of the endometrium line. And then for Abhyantara Snehapana, we can choose Grutas here. rather than Tailas, here we will choose, as it is for a Garbha Dharana purpose, we will choose Gruta here. For that we can choose some Grutas like Dadimadi Gruta and Kalyanaka Gruta, Maha Kalyanaka Gruta. We can have the references of Kalyanaka and Maha Kalyanaka Gruta from Ashtanga Hrudaya. And Dadimadi Gruta also can be advised as it told in Panduroga Adhikara, but it has, if you see the Falashruti, it will be advised for a Vandyanam and Garbhadharanam. That means it is useful or it is indicated in Vandyatva, that is in infertility, and also for the purpose of Garbhadharana. So it can be advised. And also some of Grutas like Bruhat Shatavari Adi Gruta, all those things we can advise for a Abhyantara Snehapana purpose. And next move on to another Purva Karma, that is Svedana. So as I told, after Sarvanka Abhyanga, we should always do the Svedana Karma. But because Svedana helps in Sroto Shodhana and also Vatanulomana, and also to clears the Khavaigundyata. So Svedana as is very helpful. And here for Svedana, we can choose a Nadi Sveda by using Dashmulakvata, and also we can perform that is Pinda Sveda over the waist and abdomen and back region. We can do the Pinda Sveda with the help of some drugs like Guduchi, Shatavari. That is, we can make the Putali of with the help of drugs like Guduchi, Shatavari and all, and we can perform the Pinda Sveda as a Svedana procedure. And after that, after this Purva Karma, that is Snehana and Svedana Karma, so with the after assessing the patient, we can choose which Shodhana therapy we can perform. So while performing this Panchakarma, we should assess or we should consider the factors like Prakriti, Vaya, Kala and Bala of the Rogi, and also Dosha Avastha of the Rogi we have to assess. Then we can choose the proper Panchakarma therapy. So the first one is the Vamana Karma. Vamana Karma, that is MSS therapy. So here Vamana Karma usually perform in Kapha Pradoshaja Vikaras. Kapha Pradoshaja Vikaras like Kafaja Artavadushti and Kafaja Yoni Vyapad, and also some Granthi Artavadushti and Granthi Shukra Dushti. Yes, there are Ashta Shukra. In Ashta Shukra Dushti, Granthi Shukra Dushti is one of the type. So we can choose Vamana in all these conditions. And also in some metabolic disorders like PCOD, PCOS, because as it is in PCOD and all, Kapha Avrita Vata will be there. So to get rid of this Kapha, we can choose the Vamana therapy here. So by doing Vamana, our action of Vamana over the bodies, how it will act means by doing Kapha Nirharana or by doing this Vamana Karma, after this it may helps in a normal flow of the blood through the brain, and as it stimulates the hypothalamus, there will be a tonic release of gonadotropin releasing hormone, that is GnRH, and because of this it will promote the normal follicular growth. That means जो भी ovulation के लिए चाहिए, so that is it will promote the normal follicular growth, and it is also reduces the fat cells and also helps in aromatization of the peripheral cells. So thus Vamana Karma is beneficial in those patients who are suffering from any Kapha Pradoshaja Vikaras. And here we will use the drugs like commonly used drugs is Madanaphala, and along with that we can also use Pipali Churna and Yashtimata Churna also for as a Vamana Karma procedure. And next comes to Virechana Karma. It is one another Shodhana therapy. Compared to Vamana Karma or Vamana Shodhana therapy, Virechana is best in Stri Roga Vikaras. And it is this Virechana Karma is indicated in Pitta Dushtis and Rakta Dushti also, and it is also helpful in some the Virechana Karma is also acts as some Anulomana Karma also, so we can as apana vayu dushti will be there, we can also advise virechana karma. So as I told, in Pitta Pradushtaja Vikaras like Pittaja Yoni Bapa, they are Pittaja Artavadushti and Puti Puya Artavadushti, it is one among Ashtartavadushti, and Puti Puya Shukra Dushti. In all these cases, Virechana Karma can be indicated. And to perform Virechana Karma, we can choose the drugs like the commonly using drugs, that is Trivrit Leha, because as Trivrit is Sukha Virechaka and it can be administered in Sukumara Rogis also. So here Trivrit Leha can be selected. And also Icha Bedya Rasa can also be given to the patients if the patient is if the rogi is Balavan, that is in the Balavan rogi, and in Prabala dosha avastha mein, we can indicate the Icha Bedya Rasa to the procedure of Virechana Karma. Next comes to after Vamana and Virechana, the most important therapy, that is Basti, because Basti is performed in all kind of Vataja Vikaras, as Charaka quotes in Yoni Vapachikitsa Adhyaya, that is Nahi Vatadrute Yonir Narinam Sampradushyati. That means without the involvement of Vata dosha, there will be no Yoni Vapad or any Yoni dosha which is going to occur. So being Basti is a main procedure to mitigate Vayu, and Vatasthana, if you see the Vatasthana, it is situated below the umbilicus, that is in Pakvashaya Pradesha, where the reproductive organs, female reproductive organs are present. So Basti being a good therapy for all Vataja Vikaras, so we can advise Basti in all kind of Vataja Vikaras. Like any kind of Artavadushti or any kind of Shukradushti, and in case of Anartava, Kshinartava, like in all these conditions we can advise the Basti. So in Basti there are mainly three types of Basti we are going to indicate, that is one is Niruha Basti, and other one is Anvasana Basti, and third is Yapana Basti. So among this Niruha Basti, that is also called as Kashaya Basti, so where here we will use the Kashaya Dravyas, and mainly here Vatahara Dravyas we will going to use. For example, Eranda Muladi Kashaya or Eranda Muladi Madhutailika Basti, or Dashamuladi Kvata Siddha Basti can be helpful. So mainly Niruha Basti is indicated in Santarpanavtachana Vyadis. It is indicated in Santarpanavtachana Vyadis. And second one is, that is Anuvasana Basti. Anuvasana Basti is indicated in where Dhatukshaya will be there, and where if the patient is very Ruksha and where Vata Prakopa will be more, then we can indicate the Anuvasana Basti. Anuvasana Basti is a Sneha Basti. So we will use some kinds of oil, for example Narayana Taila, Mahanarayana Taila, or Dhanvantri Taila we can use in the Anuvasana Basti process. And also some particular yoga which is mentioned in Yoni Vapad Prakarana, this is Samana Chikitsa of Yoni Vapad, that is Pipalyadi Anuvasana Basti, can also be useful according to the condition and avastha of the patient. And next, that is third one is the Yapana Basti for Dhatu Yapanartha, that is which Yapana Basti which is going to promote the Dhatus, so to maintaining the Dhatus, we can advise the Yapana Basti. Example for Yapana Basti are Mustadi Yapana Basti and Baladi Yapana Basti. It is a reference from Yoni Vapad Chikitsa Adhyaya, that is Samanya Yoni Vapad Chikitsa, it is explained. And next move on to another one important procedure, that is Uttara Basti. So as you all know, Uttara Basti is one among Sthanika Chikitsa also. That is administration of medication through the Uttar Marga, that is Mutra Marga or Yoni Marga, both in male and Mutra Marga in male partner, and both Mutra Marga and Yoni Marga in female partner, that is urethral route and vaginal route. So administration of drugs through the Uttara Marga, it is called as Uttara Basti. And also we will administer this Uttara Basti after Niruha Basti and Anuvasana Basti. That is after doing Shodhana Karma only, or 2 to 3 Shodhana Karma only. That is after giving Anuvasana and Niruha only, we will administer this Uttara Basti. So that's why it is called as Uttara Basti. So the proper time for doing this Uttara Basti is 6th, 7th, 8th or 9th day or 10th day of the menstruation, that is after stoppage of flow of menstruation. This is the time period, that is in Rutukala we should administer the Uttara Basti, because during this period the cervical opening or cervical layer is opened and there will be a more absorption will takes place during this period. And place where to give Uttara Basti means that is Uttara Basti should be performed under all aseptic measures. By taking all aseptic precaution, we should perform this Uttara Basti procedure. So that's why at least minor OT setup should be there in the hospital to perform Uttara Basti procedure. Next, if you see the indication of Uttara Basti, where this Uttara Basti can be performed, that is, it can be indicated in all kinds of vaginal infections and also in cervical conditions like cervical erosion, or to increase the quantity and quality of cervical mucus. Is cervical any abnormality in the cervical mucus is one of the important cervical causes for infertility. So to improve this cervical mucus state and also to improve the quantity and quality of the cervical mucus, we can give the Uttara Basti. And also to improve the endometrium layer, and also in some conditions like tubal block or hydrosalpinx, we can perform the Uttara Basti. And also in some ovulatory condition, that is in anovulatory Rajakshinata or Anartava Avastha, we can also perform the Uttara Basti. So for vaginal infection, we can generally use Jatyadi Taila, and for a tubal block and all, we will use Kshara Taila or Kumari Taila we will use for in the case of tubal blocks and all. And for Anarthava or in any anovulatory condition cycles or anovulatory condition, we will use Shatavari yogas and some Shatapushpadi yogas we will use to perform this Uttara Basti. So all this about Panchakarma procedures, starting from Purva Karma, that is Nehana Svedana and Vamana Virechana and Basti and Uttara Basti also. And we have all discussed about both Niruha Basti and Anuvasana Basti, and also the Uttara Basti. And some yogas to be performed during this preconception is, as you all know, yoga is one of the better, which gives better results for the fertile, that is for conception, and it should be done in a perfect posture to get well benefit of that, or to get a good result. We should perform the yoga in a that is a normal posture. So starts with Surya Namaskara, and also we can do some asanas like Halasana, Sarvangasana, or Dhanurasana, Bhujangasana, and Upavishta Konasana. So all these asanas will going to helpful during this preconception period. And along with yoga therapy, we should also do practicing the pranayama therapy. In that pranayama, that is Anuloma Viloma pranayama, as it does the Nadi Shuddhi, so it is also called as Nadi Shuddhi pranayama, that is inhaling air from the right nostrils and closing the right nostril, we should exhale from the left nostrils. So like that, we will perform the Anuloma Viloma pranayama. And also another pranayamas like Brahmari and Shitkari pranayama are also going to beneficial during this preconception period. So lastly, Manasika Bhavas is also plays very important role in this preconceptional period, because if the stress level will increase, it will affects the hypothalamus, then it will decreases the secretion of or release of GnRH, then it leads to anovulation, and finally it leads to amenorrhea. So psychological status of a couple is very important. So Charaka states the same thing, that is in Yajapurishya Adhyaya, he states that Saumanasya Garbhadharanam. That means psychological states of a couple and also happiness of a couple is very important for for proper conception. So and it is achieved by doing proper counseling of the couple, and also by performing meditation or dhyana for at least for 15 to 20 minutes daily, and also by mantra therapy, and that is by chanting some mantras. This is going to helpful. That means we can control our mind, or we should be in a stress life activities. And to conclude, some of the do's and don'ts which is should be done in preconceptional period. As I told, during this preconceptional period, we should drink plenty of water, lots of water, as it nourishes the body, and also to take folic acid, that is tablet folic acid 0.4 mg before the time of actual conception, as it reduces the risk of neural tube defects, and also to eat fresh vegetables, greeny vegetables, and also citrus fruits and some legumes and all. And don'ts are should avoid, whatever the things should be avoid during these periods are, say of course she should avoid, the couple should avoid anything bad habits like alcohol, any tobacco chewing on all these things, and also taking or drinking too much of coffee, tea is also it will not good for the baby, or it will harmful for the future baby, so it should be avoided. And also like green tea, so some researchers some of the research paper will suggested that drinking green tea in lot, it will reduces the folic acid level in the body. So all this tea, coffee tea, green tea, and some nuts like peanuts and all those things should be avoided if the couples are planning for the pregnancy in the future. So these are some do's and don'ts should be avoided in the preconceptional period. So by all this, I would like to conclude the session. If you have any doubts, please leave the comments in the comment section. Then I would like to thanks all the organizers of that Vidya Sambhasha to give this opportunity to discuss all these points with you people. Thank you.